And we are live. Hello, everyone. Those of you who are tuning in today to our Wednesday lunchtime live. And for those of you who are tuning into the recording, because I know that's when most of you will watch what we're doing today. When you've got 5 minutes to yourself, I hope you've got your feet up, got a cuppa of whatever it is that you enjoy most, and taking time out for you. That's really important. Today is a big topic, and it is with great pleasure that I am going to introduce you to people who are giving up their time freely to talk to you today about breast cancer. And I know, I'm 100% sure that of all of you watching today, you would have been touched by breast cancer in some way, shape, or form, either directly yourselves or someone that you love. With who's had this disease. And today we want to enlighten you a little bit more about breast cancer. We have Carmel, who is one of Brisbane's most experienced breast care nurses and a damn fine woman. Welcome, Carmel.
Thank you, Anita. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And the lovely Kylie, who is joining us because Kylie is currently undergoing breast cancer treatment and is a patient. Do we say patient? Do we say client? What do you say? Patient. We do say patient.
We do.
A patient of Carmel's. So that's how we've come together, isn't it? So Carmel and I first met, what now, maybe 4 years ago now, Carmel. Time flies.
It would be longer than that.
Oh, might have been. Yeah. It was a fundraiser, I think, for...
And I won the raffle. That was a swimsuit from you, and that's how and I said, well, I'm a breast care nurse, and that's how we got.
And I just went, oh my God, I've got tingles, which I always do when something comes together and connects. And that's where it started. And over the years, we kind of kept in contact, on social media, just touching base. We did go down the track of a bit of a project, which unfortunately didn't kind of end the way I wanted it to, but we've kept in contact, and that's been fantastic. So I really appreciate you coming in today, Carmel. You have a lot of experience in this area, looking after beautiful women and their breasts. And of course, Kylie, big welcome to you, Kylie.
Thank you. I'm a tad excited and a tad nervous at the same time, but thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I appreciate that. So many who hop on and have a chat live. The first time is quite nerve-wracking, but you know what? We're just all mates and we're just having a chat, and it's going to be great.
Yep.
There's a bit of a surprise here for you, Carmel. Liz, if you look in the comments, Liz Kubler is joining in, saying hello.
It's funny. I hadn't seen Liz for a while, and then I bumped into her recently. How are you, Liz?
So I'm about to get teary-eyed, but this is how it goes, right? We all know someone, if it's not us, somebody that we love who's been touched by breast cancer. And when I was thinking about today's live and what we are talking about, absolutely that is the case for me. And Liz is one of those women in my world. Liz and I connected here. Surprise, surprise, Liz is saying, Carmel. Liz and I connected through Quasi's, right? And then she jumped on and did our Quasi Confidence campaign. And then one of the years, Liz joined us with no hair because she was mid-treatment and decided that she wasn't going to pull back. She was going to keep going forward, and she was extraordinary on that day. So there is another connection. Liz is very tight here in the team at Sequins and Sand, as is Helen, somebody else on the team here. Helen, has her own breast cancer story. And indeed, a very dear friend of mine has written a book on her journey. And then my bestie had a very different outcome. We lost her nearly 2 years ago now. But there is lots of stories. And we're here to tell your story today, Kylie, and to get some invaluable insights from you, Carmel. I can't wait to hop in. So why don't we do that? Carmel, do you want to kick us off? And just from your point of view, how many years have you been working? Do we call it the breast industry? What?
In breast health, maybe.
Breast health. There we go.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So nearly 20, actually, which
oh, goodness.
Yeah. I was at Mater Private first, and then I went to the Mater Public Centre. And then I'm now at St Vincent's Northside Private, and I've been here 9 years. And they didn't have a service here, but they had some oncologists and they had 2 surgeons that had just arrived, and we wanted to build a diagnostic screening centre. So I came along then just to try and, with all those wonderful doctors, to build a service, and that's what we've done. Yeah, and hopefully
It's a
we've looked after
wonderful
many
service.
women, probably nearly about 250 a year we look after. So
Wow.
it's quite busy, but it's a great job, very rewarding.
Yeah, very, very satisfying, very worthwhile, and very challenging at times, I'm sure. And Liz has said a fabulous service, so well done.
Thanks, Liz.
I know that every woman's journey is different, every story is different, and we don't want to lose sight of that. But just broadly, Carmel, what can you give us a little bit of information about breast cancer from your point of view and your experience?
Yes, and the main thing about breast cancer that I try and tell everyone is it is a million different diseases. Your cancer is totally different to somebody else's. It might be subtle changes. So, but we look at a pathology report after a woman has surgery, it's about 4 pages long. So there's a lot to it, and a lot of women get told a lot of things that aren't correct from people that aren't experts. And that's one thing I always try and do, to say it's you and it's what you're going through, and it's the treatment plan is what you are being offered, and with your input from experts, not from your cousin's mother's sister's friend who knows
Well-meaning friends.
what you need. So that's a really important part of it, that everyone is different and that you just need to have your treatment team and your people around you. Be your own advocate. If someone's telling you something that's not right for you, or telling you about someone else's story, then you've every right to stop them, because a lot of the time it's just wrong and upsetting to you. You have your treatment team and you be your own advocate and you use them as you need them. That's what they're there for. And of course, you've got your doctors, and you've got, you usually have a combination of doctors. But if you have a breast care nurse, we're here for anything, any reason at all, but support, information, education. But a lot of it's, coordination of your care. If you have someone on the ground who is coordinating your care, it's going to be so much easier. Yeah. Kylie has an issue, she rings me, I can speak to that person, that doctor, this one, I can try and sort it out myself. If I can't, then I know everyone in the team. So I think that's a really important part of our role. And the other part is not just physical support, emotional, psychological support. Hopefully we can just, when you come for treatments and things, we're here and just helping you get through it to the best of your and our ability. That's what
Yeah. I think that's so important. And that whole concept of having a team, right? So most of the women tuning in today will be women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe even early 70s. So women who are in midlife, in different stages of life. Our breasts change as we age as well, don't they? So I think that notion of having that awareness, but also the right team on your side, is really, really important. We do it for so many other things in our life. And yes, I think the message of going and getting a breast check is pretty much there. There's a lot of awareness around that, but there's ways to do it as well. So do you want to just elaborate a little bit on what a good team is for breast health?
Yes, well, for breast health, this is for women who have not had a diagnosis of cancer, but what women are most scared of is they say, I've got lumpy breasts and I don't know what I'm feeling. So 2 things: have regular checks with your GP. Get them to, maybe only once every 12 months. But the most important thing you can do is get to know your breasts. So if you do a regular once a month, and until you really get to know how they feel, do it more frequently. You can do it every morning in the shower. Feel your breasts. And then if something is different, you're going to know where. And if you do notice something different, who cares if it's nothing? Go and get it checked out. Go and see your GP. And if you're not happy with that, then you can just be your own advocate, as I said before. And then, so your GP is often a very, very important person in this team. So it's hard to find a good GP. It's not hard to find a good GP. I find GPs, though, they're all lovely women who are childbearing age, who work part-time. But find yourself a practice and a group of GPs that you can trust. And then if you do have a diagnosis, then, getting to know your team, not feeling that you're not part of the team, that you just have to be told by them and guided. You are a very big part of that team. And if get people that you trust, and it's your doctors and your nurses, that's really important. But I tell you what, it's really good to get a team of people behind you, like I know that Kylie has, that help you in ways that is positive for you. And the other thing is looking after your mental health. Everyone looks after their physical health during this, but honestly, it's like 50-50 physical and mental, this disease. And I'm a big believer in counselling, and lots of women go, no, there's worse people than me, I should be able to cope, I'll be fine. But, it's often after it's all the treatment's over and everyone expects you to go back to, yep, well, here's Kylie, she's done, she's dusted, and you just think, what happened to me? What the hell happened? This whole life-changing thing has happened, and I'm supposed to just not pretend it didn't, but that's what it feels like. So looking after mental health as well. Get some counselling. We should all have counselling. We've all got tough lives. Your normal tough life doesn't go away just because you get a disease, just not breast cancer, any cancer or any, chronic disease or something. It just, we really should all be there to look after our mental health as well as our physical health.
Yeah, I think the pandemic, we haven't yet hit that wave, have we, really? The focus has been on, vaccinations and getting protected, but I also feel that there's a whole wave coming with all of that too. Absolutely, 100% agree. So, Kylie, can we move over to you now? You obviously are having breast cancer treatment. Do you want to just backtrack a little bit and tell your story? Now, I know your story is going to be different to others, but I think it goes a long way to awareness and understanding what it feels like, to have breast cancer. And I'm sorry if anybody's watching this, that this brings on some sort of triggering as well for you. But yeah.
Well, mine started. My best friend was diagnosed 9 months before myself. So I always go for a skin check to my GP, who's very, very good. And I was talking to him about that, and he just said to me in casual chat, oh, have you done breast examinations? And it was exactly like Carmel said. My boobs were very, sorry, I use boobs instead of breasts. I hope nobody minds.
All right. It's good.
My boobs were puffy, and so I never quite knew what I was feeling for. And no matter how many times I felt, it never became normal to me, or I could never feel a difference. So my GP said, would you like me to do an examination for you? So he did. Again, the lumpiness that I was feeling, he said was fibrocystic tissue. He felt it wasn't an issue. But he said we should go to have it ultrasound just so we can get it on file and sizing, etc. All for that. So I went down and had that done. The lady there agreed with what my doctor had said, that she thought it was just a fibrocystic tissue also. But she said to be more thorough, to go to my GP and get a referral for a mammogram as well, because the two of them in conjunction are far better. So I went off and got that from my GP. He also gave me a biopsy referral as well, for just in case. So I went back and had that done. Whilst the lady was doing the mammogram on the area that they thought was the fibrocystic tissue, she found a small 10 mil mass, I guess, in a separate area to where the tissue was we were looking at originally. So she did a biopsy on that, and then I got the news a couple of days later that it was actually breast cancer. We thought it was only small then, so we thought we may be looking at a lumpectomy at that stage. So that was the beginning of it all. On Wednesday, the 7th of May 2021 is when I found out. From there, appointments with surgeons, etc. Down the track, had all the scans. The scans then showed that I had more separate lesions, which in totaled 7.5 centimetres. So these were all there during the original scans, etc. But they could not be felt by anybody. Even when I got the diagnosis, my doctor laid me down and he tried to feel it. He could not find or feel any of them. So from that diagnosis, I was then told that I needed to have a left mastectomy, which I did. That's when I then met Carmel post-surgery at St. Vincent's Hospital. So from there, it's just been a whirlwind of mastectomy, led to chemo, led to radiation, which I've still got 6 more treatments of radiation to go. So I'm starting to feel a little bit red and tender and sore currently. But yes, so, and what Carmel said of everybody having different diagnoses or even reacting differently to treatment. No one person is the same. You might have a friend that's, suffered really badly. I've been quite lucky in my treatment, had my ups and downs, but like everybody, but you just can't compare yourself to anybody else. And they call it a journey, and it sounds so cliche, but it is. It's been 8 months of my life so far. And come the end of January, I'll have my my scans to see whether I've got the all clear or not. So, it's all looking good, and, I've got through 8 months, just almost at the end of that tunnel. Can't wait for it to all to be finished.
Your strength is extraordinary because, to personalize it or to humanize it even more, you live a bit of a distance to the hospital too, don't you, where you're currently having radiation treatment?
Well, radiation, it's a 3 to 3.5 hour return trip every day. So I work all day and then go in the evenings to get my treatment. And so it's very tiring, but you've got to keep yourself busy.
Sorry, Kylie, I was just going to say, a lot of women go, a lot of women think that they couldn't do the treatment and they won't be able to get through it. Who would say that you could do a 3.5 hour trip 5 days a week after a full day's work, after, you've just finished chemo? You'd think, I can't do it. But I have a lot of women, especially for chemo. It is one of the most frightening things that you will come for, but I know those women will do it. And I try and give them as much confidence, but they feel they may not be able to do it. But at the end, I say, remember the first, and they go, I know, I can't believe I did it. And then Kylie backs up with 3.5 hour trip. But women are strong and you do what you have to do. And Kylie does that because she knows it's what she has to do.
And during the chemo treatment, I would just go and take my laptop and sit there and work whilst I was having my treatment every Wednesday for 16 weeks. That's what I did. And so it can be done. It is grueling at times, and sometimes you just think, oh no, and depending on how you're feeling on whatever day of your chemo cycle sort of thing. But it can be done. Yeah, you just come out of it a little bit more tired and weary at the end, but you just do what you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have a youngish family as well too, don't you, Kylie? You've got a couple of kids at home in their teens, roughly.
Yes, in the teens. So if cancer didn't get me, the kids probably will eventually with this teenage angst and so looking after family, which is one of the reasons also why I go and do radiation in the night time, so my husband can look after the kids.
Yeah. So all of this needs to be woven into your otherwise, regular life as well. So it's and I'm sure
life doesn't stop.
Life doesn't stop. No, and it's just got a whole lot more complicated. But you are rising to it beautifully, and for that you should really, take a bow and know that you're doing a brilliant job. Absolutely. Yeah, and coming on today and sharing your story is a whole other level of helping other women too, which is extraordinary in itself. So not only you need to do it for you, but you're doing it for others as well. So thank you very much for telling us your story today. We're not done yet, but I just want you to know that
thank
you're
you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So if it wasn't, you're 51, aren't you, Kylie?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So when your diagnosis was done, did you say that was 8 months ago? So you were
so I was 50 then. Yeah. I was 50.
Okay. Yeah.
With no history in my family of breast cancer anywhere. So, and I was having regular mammograms every 2 years at that stage. So I had my mammogram in November 2019, and I was diagnosed in May 21. So as Carmel was saying, it's a great idea to get not just rely on the mammograms, get your doctor to do an examination, when you go and have your health check or whatever as well. So, yes.
And as you said, Kylie, don't be lulled into a false sense of security because no one in your family has had breast cancer. The majority of breast cancers don't have a genetic predisposition. In fact, only about less than 10%. So 90% of women that we look after, they may have other women in their family, but when we do genetic testing on them, they don't have any genetic, reason to have this breast cancer. I don't know why they're getting it. There is no rhyme or reason for most women. They've done nothing wrong for all women, really, and it just happens. So yeah, have your regular checks. Don't be lulled. No, I don't. No one in my family has ever had breast cancer. I'll be fine. Don't think that. Do your checks. Do what you have to do.
And for like the women in 40s, 50s, 60s, Carmel, what is a good regime? So for Kylie, she went to her doctor and then had the mammogram and went to a place where she had an ultrasound to complement that. And I must admit, I do the same. I've got very dense breasts, and I had an experience in Melbourne about 5-6 years ago where even the breast specialist, my GP picked up on a lump, same deal. She wasn't sure, went to the breast specialist. That's all he does is breast medicine, if you like. And he wasn't sure either, couldn't figure out what he was feeling. And I went and had a mammogram done, and it showed other areas of concern, and had the biopsy done. And then since then, I've now go to a regular service like is at St. Vincent's, where it is full-on complimentary. You weave in a mammogram, the examination, a mammogram, an ultrasound, and then if needed, a biopsy is done either there and there or very closely by. What do you think is a good practice for women in midlife to do? Because as we get older, is that right? Statistically, the risk goes up. Is that fair to say?
Yes, the risk does go up. So the older you are, the more likely you are to get any cancer. It makes sense because our cells aren't as young as they were. But but any time from 40, women from 40 can go and get mammograms at Breast Screen, or you can go to a private service like ours. If you have very dense breast tissue, like Anita does, you would be advised to have your screening every year. So that's why they don't do mammograms on women under 40, because they have a lot of dense breast tissue. It's harder to see cancers through dense breast tissue. But once you're postmenopausal, most of your breast tissue goes to fat. Like I know, because I've had an MRI, that 75% of my breast tissue is fat. It's easy to see through fat, but Anita has very dense breast tissue, so she wouldn't have 75%. So they would suggest that women who are 40 to postmenopausal, or always have dense breast tissue, that you can have yearly screening. I would just go to Breast Screen is a very good service. Privately, if you go to a service that purely does breasts, so if there's a suburban X-ray department that doesn't have a breast service, they may have somebody looking at those mammograms, but they'll be looking at lots of other different scans and, CAT
Body
scans,
parts.
legs and things, where at a dedicated breast centre you usually see a doctor or a nurse who's specialised, have a breast check with them. The mammographer, of course, they only do mammograms. The sonographer is who does the ultrasounds. That's what they do. They do breast ultrasounds day in, day out. Then the radiologist that is attached to that centre will be a breast specialist radiologist. So that's all that person does, is breast. And because it's very hard, it takes a good eye to see some cancers. Some are obvious and not so much. So like Kylie, your GP, hats off to that man or woman, whoever he is. It's a boy, a man, isn't it?
He.
Hats off to him, because he could have just said, oh no, it doesn't feel like anything. You had a mammogram 18 months ago or less than 18 months ago. We won't bother. But, he did that and you went. If he had said, I think it's okay, you probably would have gone, oh, okay. I only had the mammogram not too long ago. So once again, be your own advocate.
Yes, be your own advocate. And if you're feeling a bit uneasy about something, or, listen to your intuition. My goodness, our intuition, is quite reliable. And if you want it, even if they're saying, no, I think you'll be all right, push the point. Say, no, give me a referral. I want this. I feel I need this. And I wouldn't be afraid to ask. Better that the better you do it and know than let it go and not know. And, be a whole other outcome. Yeah. So, Kylie, just picking up, you're doing really well with your treatment, and you've got radiation. You're at the tail end of your radiation treatment almost. You're over halfway through. Yay, fantastic.
6.
So
I've got 6 more to go out of 25.
Yay.
25. Wow. So when will you be wrapping up your treatment, or your radiation treatment?
The 15th, next Wednesday, the 15th of December.
Just before Christmas. Even better.
Yes.
What a great Christmas gift to know that you've through your Christmas. What a special Christmas that will be. But of course, we've kind of touched on this, you and I talking. The other part of the journey post-treatment, and even as you go through treatment, is life keeps going, right? How do you then get back into life the way that you want to recapture it or live it? Because I'm sure at some point this is so overwhelming. You must look at it and go, I want to do that. How the hell do I get out there and do that again? Can you talk around lifestyle a little bit and what you want to do to get back into your life?
Well, as I said, when I was asked to come onto here, it just could not have been the best timing, because we're a family that go camping with a lot of our friends, and I obviously hadn't been camping throughout my treatment because I needed to be at home and I was never quite well enough and whatever. So I went on the recent camping trip, and it was to the beach, And I said to my husband, oh, I don't want to go. What am I going to wear? And I'd not come across that scenario. And I'm sure there's going to be a million scenarios of things down the track that I haven't even thought of yet. But this was just one. And it was a major thing of, oh, I'm with all my friends that I'm very comfortable with, but how am I going to deal with this? And what am I going to wear? And so I was really nervous and really scared about going. And I'm quite comfortable only having one breast at the moment, and I don't hide it. And obviously people can tell I've got cancer. I've still got no eyebrows or eyelashes. My hair has decided to go back grey when it wasn't previously. So there's all these obstacles and these things that you encounter, but this is just perfect timing because I didn't know what to wear, and I went feeling, sorry, my dog, I went feeling very uncomfortable and just wore what I had, and sort of threw on a sarong over the top just to hide away, sort of thing. So it's definitely an eye-opener, all these different scenarios as you go through. But this is perfect timing because now there's this great swimwear range that is just for me that, you know, will help me get through that, and I can feel comfortable and feel normal. Also, there's so many different pieces in these ranges. I also ride a horse, and I'm going to go to the beach riding my horse. And there's something that I thought that would be fantastic to ride my horse in whilst at the beach. So there's many different things there. So I can't actually swim yet, guys, to tell you what it's all about or how great they are or whatever, because I can't do that until after treatment's finished. But I'm excited to get in there and try it.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be on your team to help you get back in there and do these things, you know.
Yeah.
Happy to be on your team. And I think that's a really important point. You know, a lot of the work that I do, the swimsuit is just it's the medium. You know, it's what the swimsuit enables you to do that is the gold. That is the treasure. And if we can find you a swimsuit that houses your bust prosthesis, and I've got one here to show you. You know, this is not a waterproof one for swimming, but something that's going to, Carmel, you're supposed to bring that. Did you?
They are waterproof. That one is waterproof.
This one is? Oh, great.
Yes, you can wear that in your swimsuit. So that is a prosthesis that women who have mastectomy wear in a mastectomy bra. Now, mastectomy bras, there's some beautiful mastectomy bras out there. They're basically well made, and they've got a pocket to hold the prosthesis. But you can, so Kylie is adventurous, water sports, does a lot of sport. I don't. So if I had a mastectomy, I would probably just wear that prosthesis in my swimsuit because I just paddle around. But if you're a water baby and you do aqua aerobics or you swim a lot and you want to, you know, actually get fit and be active in the water, I've got a couple of swim forms here. So these are two different types. What Anita had in her hand was a silicone breast prosthesis, and this is also a silicone breast prosthesis, but Anita, see how mine is just softer, and also it's hollow and it's got these so that sits in your swimsuit, and it's more streamlined. So for me, just paddling around, that's fine. But for Kylie, who probably does a lot with her kids and water sports, this would be better. And this is just the same but different. This one here is just like a beanbag. But both of them sit up very well in swimsuits.
Water.
And no one would know. But you do just need a swimsuit with the pocket in it.
Right. Well, on that note, Kylie's got a couple because we've been looking at different styles for her because, you know, that will accommodate what potentially, and when she gets her prosthesis down the line. But let me just grab this one here. So a label that I stock now is called Genevieve, and part of Sonia's want is to serve women who have had a mastectomy. So most of her range will have the pockets in them. So this is the inside of the Quasi, and there is underbust elastic, which is a bit hard to see, but there it is. It's quite thick. And what I love too is that the swimsuit fabric on the inside is quite soft and light. So it's and there's no underwire that's going to, you know, dig in or be rubbing, you know, and irritating. But this is what Kylie's going to, you know, test for me going forward as well. So this could go pear-shaped. I have no idea. This is a size 7. What does that mean, Carmel?
That's fairly big, you know, maybe a D or
a D. And to me, if I saw that on someone, I'd say that's close to a 6, you know, like a, well, in swimsuit land, as a 16. Now, This is the difficulty you're going to have, girls, right? There's pockets and there's pockets. So this is a one piece that's got the pockets in it. But to try and get the pockets wide enough for your breast, it goes with the sizing. That's what will happen. As the size goes up, the openings will increase. Now, I know trying to get this one in here is just not going to work like that. It's getting squished all the way through. So that says to me that this is a too small a size for that size.
These would go in a lot easier because they squish up, slide in, open up. So these swim forms would be more suitable.
Maybe I need to get a couple off you, Carmel, and bring the togs in and have a play.
Yes.
But there's that style. Now, where is another one? This one here. This is a swim dress. So there's lots of different styles. Now, that one opens up a lot wider. So it will very much depend on the Quasi itself as well, and that's where I'm here to help. But that one goes in nicely. There's some weight to them, isn't there? Like, you know, this one is that one. You've got
that one's a fair size, and your breasts are heavy. You just have it sitting on your chest wall your whole life and don't realise.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want some weight in it so that you feel you don't feel, you know, less weight on one side, that you feel comfortable. So
yeah, that's the whole thing too. You have to get used to that change in shape and then change in feel and start again with all that, Kylie. But that one goes in quite nicely. That was into the swim dress. So you know, from my point of view, I'm here to help. And if it means multiple swaps until we get it right, so be it. There will be an answer in there. We just have to find it. But I'm pretty excited about this range because the openings are generally good sized openings and the underbust support is pretty good. You know, it's nice and wide, elastic, and it's nice and soft. Kylie, you have got a couple that we're going to road test. I think one of them is this one, which is from the Capriosca range. Now, that is very small in size. I've got to say, that's you to a T. And that's the other thing. We want to stick with your personality, right, as well, your style personality. This one has got...
I love that one.
Back. Yeah.
Me too.
It brings out your blue eyes beautifully. So that's the one that Kylie's going to road test. Now, it's got pockets on the side as well. They're reasonably, you know, I wouldn't say that's overly generous. So we'll see how that one goes for you, Kylie. And we'll know once you get your bust form as well how that's going to work in it. And then you've got the T-shirt one, which I don't have, but this is another option. It's got the long sleeve and there's a lot of skin coverage with this one. So if you've got some sun sensitivity, it's called the scuba suit, Carmel. So this one, you know, get into it through the front zip. But again, it's got the same deal. It's got the underbust elastic and the pockets. But I like, you know, there's options too with lengths of sleeve, depending on how much coverage you want for the sun as well. And all of these are also pool tough. They're chlorine resistant, everything in this range. So I know hydrotherapy or getting into a pool is a great way to recover as well from, you know, surgery and whatnot. It's recommended. So that's
it is. And Anita, I might just mention the Encore Program.
Yeah, so great idea.
Program that was around many years ago, and it's been in the southern states for many years. but it's a free program for women who have undergone breast cancer treatment, and it's a water-based exercise program. It's an 8-week program, and we've only got one started up in Brisbane at the moment, and that's at Indooroopilly. It's sponsored by the YWCA, but we're hoping to get one on the north side as well soon. But for any woman who would like to, it's hard if you haven't been in the water before and all of a sudden you've had a mastectomy and you'd like to do some great exercise that will help your, your arm movement and keeping everything moving, and also strengthen your body. It's hard to just, like going into a gym if you've never been before. It's not something that 50, 60-year-old women do easily. But if you have the support of people who know what you're going through and other women who are also going through it, then it's a much easier program, and it will help you. And the other thing I say is exercise physiologist for women who, like, I think Kylie, once she gets her strength back, she'll be out there on that horse, in that beach, doing whatever she does. But for a lot of women, it's hard, but you do want to make some lifestyle changes after this for the better. So finding somebody in your community, an exercise physiologist or somebody, just to start you on the program. And once you get some, you start to get a bit stronger, but you also get a bit more strength internally, mentally, to say, I can do this.
I can do this again. Yeah.
So it's a very good idea just to find somebody to help you.
Yeah. So again, it's all about getting your team together, isn't it? Going out there, getting your team together. Yeah, another team member. Fantastic. So I will put the details of that Encore program in the chat once we finish. I'm unfortunately using StreamYard. I can't do that as we go, but that is a fantastic program. Thank you for mentioning that, Carmel. There's lots of resources out there. It's just a matter of knowing where to go to, isn't it? So on that note, if you are not on your breast cancer journey with treatment, but you're not there and would like to know more, or even if you are, the best resource out there is, Carmel?
The Breast Cancer Network of Australia. So BCNA, if you just Google Breast Cancer Network of Australia, they have a lot of resources. They have information on the site. They have podcasts. There's a new one that's just come out, and it's a psychologist who is she's gone through, I think there might be 10 different podcasts, her talking about different aspects of psychology to help you get through. They do have support groups, online support groups run through them as well. So that's a good resource if you did want to know more.
Yeah, and I'll put that in the comments in the discussion thread too, so women can go there and find out all that information. Liz is just saying she had no family history of breast cancer either, and when hers was picked up, and she was on 2 yearly mammograms. Yeah. And Kylie, she says you're an absolute warrior. So there you go. Somebody else rah-rahing you. Support. Yeah, fantastic. Oh, and she thinks you'd be great as our next Quasi Confidence crew member.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah. Let me show you. I'll share with you what our crew looks like. Well, that's a great. Thank you, Liz, for mentioning that. Kylie, if you're up for it, darling, we'll welcome you with open arms. Let's just share this.
I don't even know exactly what it means. But...
Well, let me show you what it means. It means, I'm just going to go to, can you see that now? We're going to the Sequins and Sand homepage. This is some of our Quasi Confidence crew. So these women, and there is Liz, front and center. Let me just change the view. Oh, no, we're good. We're good to go. So these are the women who are everyday women. They give up their time. We get together once a year. COVID last year made that a lot more difficult. This year was difficult again, but not so much. But they love it. They're now great mates, and they do it all. You can see all the different body shapes and sizes there. But they get together and they do it because they want to encourage other women to get out there and get in their cozies so that they can do what they want to do, right? And live their summer, live their best life. So Liz joined us, and I didn't think ahead, Liz, to show a picture of you when you were, I will put it in the feed. I'll show the girls what you did a few years ago when you were in mid-treatment. But there we go. That's the crew. There we go. They are the crew.
That sounds like fun.
I reckon you could be right in there with those girls next year, Kylie. We do it every year at about September. So watch this space, girls. We might get Kylie in there too. I'm just going to
lumps,
stop
bumps, and all.
Yay! Dive right in. I love that. Fantastic. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for your time, ladies. You've just been extraordinary. Carmel,
and thank you, Anita, because not just breast cancer, but Quasi Confidence. You know, it just, so many women are not confident in a swimsuit, and just having that support and, you know, your information and seeing other women going, you know, how gorgeous was that photo? So
yeah. And it's real, right? That's just snapped off. You know, nothing is other than, you know, let's do a shot with everybody in this print. You know, that's as far as we go. Everything else is just very raw and real, and the girls,
they always look fun, those photo shoots.
They are. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. Liz has said that. It is great fun, and it's a great day. So yeah, it's all good. Well, thank you so much for your time and knowledge. We'll put those links in the discussion, and Liz is saying, yeah, women supporting women is the best thing, and that's what we're here to do. Yeah, great. Thank you for supporting other women too in everything that you do in your profession, Carmel, and in telling your story, Kylie. That's just been awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. It's been fun.
Oh, sorry about that. Say it again. I'll shut up.
I just said, take care, everyone.
Thanks, Carmel. I will put the links in the discussion for everybody. And if you've got any questions, if you're watching the recording, you've got some questions, pop them in there, because we'll get back to you. You know, I will, or if it's something I can't answer, I'll quickly shoot Carmela, you know, an email or something and get some answers for you. Same for Kylie. So, and ladies, Carmel and Kylie, once this goes in the Sequins and Sand Facebook page, you'll be able to comment on anything if you want to keep on top of the discussion as well with the girls. If that's what you'd like to do. That'd be great. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the week. And I'll see you soon, Kylie. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.